second track in is Paul Simon's Boy in the Bubble. And it's again one of my favorites. The Graceland album, which was a very big album for lots of people, had this joy, exuberance of South African music. But what many people didn't notice, and I didn't at first either really, was what an extraordinary lyric this is. I think it's one of the best rock lyrics, pop lyrics written in the last 20 years. But it's quite dark and troubled, and stripped back in the way we've done it. I think you hear the words in a different way, and I got a nice email this week from Paul saying much the same thing. When I first talked to John about this song and the album in general, I'd asked for very emotional, sparse arrangements generally. Obviously, we would open it up and let things hang out at certain places, but I really wanted for the songs and the words to speak, and so this one particularly is such an empty arrangement, and I think so much stronger as a result.
The Boy in the Bubble landed in our laps when we came to the line, "Don't cry, baby, don't cry." Something about that line said, wait a minute. For all its bounciness and its original version and its kind of its intent, its concentration on the Africanness of it, underlying that is this. It is almost like a plaintive lullaby. It's a sad. It's a lament, a mother's lament in a way, or maybe it's more a father's lament actually, to a child. So once we did that, we said, well, what if we just slowed it way down, and I sat at a keyboard, and Peter started to sing, and we just started to do it right there. Slowed it right down, and it became, I think, John was in the room too, and it just, everybody's light bulb went off, just sort of said, wow, that's it. That's the way we need to do it.
Bob and Peter did a demo and gave it to me, and I went as sparse as I possibly could. There are single notes in the piano, there are long held single notes, which is a technique that I love, different chords against a single note. It's like something pushing, like water rising up and pushing it against the lid of something, but the lid still keeps it down, so you actually get this incredible sense of tension and release of tension as the chords change and resolve and suspend. But above all, it makes way for the vocal and the lyric. And from that point of view, it's one of my favourite tracks on the album, because the arrangement, it supports, it gives, it colours, and it helps to shape, but it never gets in the way.
Simon's version was ironic in that he had this bouncy track and this, in a way, fairly sobering, maybe even frightening lyric. And I know he did it on purpose. We just decided to say, let's just go with the lyric. Let's roll with that. He's done the ironic version. Let's roll with the version where the lyrics are front and center.
One of the great things about this process for me is that I have discovered that there are some truly great lyricists out there, truly great songwriters, and obviously Paul Simon is one of them. And I was in the room several times when Bob Ezrin and Peter were trying to pick a Paul Simon track, and there were so many that had truly great, emotional, profound lyrics to them. And they eventually chose Boy in the Bubble, but it could have been any one of a huge number of songs.
Paul is obviously, one of the major American songwriters, and has a huge catalogue of wonderful material. And great melodies, musicality, and stunning words. There were lots of things that were potential candidates, but this stuck out particularly, I think, because of the lyric. But I had looked at Diamonds in the Soles of Her Shoes, and from his latest album, were Hearts and Bones and Father and Daughter were other candidates. Father and Daughter being so quite light, but emotive, personal. Boy in the Bubble was where we ended up, and I'm very pleased with the way it's turned out. at a witness benefit, Paul Simon had agreed to come and play, and he actually suggested that he'd like to perform Biko at that without being requested. And so when this project came up, that seemed an obvious choice of song from my material.
September 77, Port Elizabeth, weather's fine. It was business as usual in police room 369. Oh, Biko, Biko, because Biko. Oh, Biko, Biko, because Biko. I already had a Peter Gabriel song in my head and in my repertoire. Oh, it's a very emotional song. It's very beautiful. It's easy to sing. I have a connection to South African politics. Ray Peary, who was in my band with Graceland, he was a Biko follower. He knew Biko. So I feel I identify with the song, with Biko. The version that we did live it felt right, and so I went to try to recapture that rather than do a big session with a lot of musicians. And there's a nice sound going on here. It's a 12-string guitar tuned down to a C. So it's all the strings are real floppy sounding, and it's got a lot of banging, and that mixes with the cello in a way that's nice, I think. And I just went to sing it. I just went to sing it live, the same way as the Witness event. Try and capture the same feeling. So if it's not exactly perfect, maybe it makes up for that in some kind of ease that I have when I'm singing and playing.